What's good? We back. It's the Boxing Link. I'm Morris, your boy CJ Goodfellow. We surfing through this boxing world real quick with some good videos, man. Always gonna keep active, stay active. As long as I'm breathing, that's what we doing. But let's not act like if it was another fighter in there, let's say on the coincidental list, Jamal Charlo, may have been a Gary Russell, may have been a Tank Davis, may have been, guys that's on that list. Earl Spence, Keith Thurman, Adonis Stevenson, Anthony Darrell, Deontay Wilder. Let have been one of those guys facing a guy with 13 fights on this belt. As green as Lipinets with a kickboxing background that had terrible footwork. And let, a guy, with 13 fights do that well versus one of those guys or anybody that falls in that category. And you'll be hearing, overrated. He's overrated. Oh, how he let a guy with 13 fights do him like that? Oh, this and that. He ain't that good. He got exposed by a guy with 13 fights. It never should have been that. He should have stopped him. He should have did better. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear none of that shit about Mikey Garcia. And I don't have a problem with Mikey. Mikey was one of my favorite fighters at 26 and 30. And I say 35. He didn't really get his feet deep wet in that division. But at 26-30, he was that guy. But I'm just wondering, why didn't he get the same backlash? He got congratulated, okay, for beating a guy with 13 wins that y'all guys were saying was a cherry pick before this fight with Lipinets. And I told you guys, Lipinets can fight. The only hole in Lipinets' game, obviously, on Saturday night was his feet. His feet wasn't good enough to close the distance, and his game plan was garbage. They game plan Buddy McGurk trying to make him an intelligent fighter when he should have been a brawler or savage and took it to Mikey Garcia like Salido did. But that's Buddy McGurk's game plan. He knows his fighter. I don't know him like that, but it is what it is. You hear all these, Mikey Garcia would smash Josh Taylor. He'd smash Regis Prograis. He'd do this. Got a guy in Lipinets that, in my opinion, that's less talented than Prograis, that's less talented than Josh Taylor. And he got the same amount of victories, 12 or 13. And, Mikey Garcia is getting praised for going a distance, and getting his face busted up by a guy that hasn't even done shit in his career. Of course, he was on the fast track. He beat Lydell Rose. He beat, Okondo. And people say, Okondo, he should never went that far with that guy. Like I said, anytime you got a championship belt on the line, it's going to be tough. It's going to always be a tough contender. That guy fought 36 or 38, 40 straight fights in the same venue, but he came to scrap, and y'all berated, Lipinets off of one performance. And that's how boxing fans is. One performance does not define your career. You're entitled to a bad night. He suffered a cut in that fight. And I told you guys, Lipinets had a real chance to beat Mikey Garcia. I told you guys, Mikey Garcia was not the de facto truth at 140. I'm telling you, I didn't like what I seen, but he was better this time around. He was a little bit more explosive. He moved good. He was punching a little bit harder. He's growing into the weight class, and that's good. Can he continue to get better at 140? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you put any of those fighters that's on that coincidental list, you put Earl Spence in there, and people was talking, let me cut myself off. People was talking shit about Earl Spence and Kell Brook and how Kell Brook was doing good versus Earl Spence in the beginning. Imagine if Earl Spence goes in there with Ocampo, okay, and Ocampo gives him a tough fight, give him not even as tough fight as Lipinets gave Mikey Garcia. He gave him better resistance than people expected. Oh, Earl Spence is overrated. Earl Spence is this and that. Mikey Garcia didn't face any of that backlash. He beat a guy with 13 wins and 10 knockouts. You know what I'm saying? And a guy, and Lipinets is pretty good. I give him that. I told you guys he was very, very good. But a guy Mikey Garcia's pedigree, 30, 40 fights, and he supposed to be, some people got him number 3 on their pound-for-pound list, or wherever on their pound-for-pound list. And he was struggling, and he was getting busted up by Lipinets like that. That's not pound-for-pound S-King shit. And that's funny about it. The backlash from the fans would have came if this was one of those fighters on that list. For real. Let it been Jamal Charlo in there struggling with, like he struggled with Vanes Monterrosi in a tough competitive fight. It was a step-up fight for the young lion, he's not that good. And they was already ready to pounce. Jamal Charlo struggled with Austin Trout. Well, that was his first step-up fight. Austin Trout beat Cotto. A lot of people thought he beat Canelo. Austin Trout is a tough warrior. This is a guy that had 30-something fights, and Jamal Charlo, in his first real step-up fight, even though it was his first title defense, it was his first real step-up fight, he got backlash because Charlo did well versus him. He really did. He got backlash, but Lipinets, with 13 fights, gave Mikey Garcia all he wanted and more, and Mikey got praised for that. So, I'm just saying, if you listen with a clear mind, you ain't one of them idiots that just see one thing from one side, or one side of the pendulum, or one side from the view from the six. Ain't that crazy, man, that this guy's getting praised for bashing the guy that's 13 fights? That he handpicked to win a world title from, when he could have just went to fight Easter Jr. and came back and fought him. You know why he didn't do that? Why he didn't fight Easter Jr. first and strike by the iron hat? Why the Broner thing was going to roll over to Robert Easter Jr.? Because he didn't believe that Lipinets was going to hold the title by the time he was ready to fight Lipinets and move up to 140 for real. He got that title while it was available, and it didn't get into the hands of somebody that's more dangerous than Lipinets and more experienced than Lipinets. He didn't believe Lipinets was going to hold that title too long anyway, Mikey Garcia. Lipinets was supposed to fight Adrian Broner, but Mikey Garcia stepped in. So I'm just saying, I just find it funny that Mikey Garcia received little backlash. He received praise for going life and death with a guy with 13 fights. Don't y'all find that a little bit funny and a little bit awkward? And a lot of people might. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't believe I'm tripping. Because if this is one of those fighters on that list, like I named, maybe Badu Jack, Adonis Stevenson. Matter of fact, rewind. Remember when Badu Jack got knocked out by Derek Edwards? Everybody wrote him, oh, you bum. He this, he that. He came back with vengeance and started whooping on people's ass. Did a lot of people apologize to Badu Jack for that, writing him off? Nobody really did. Him and Jalen Love got knocked out at the same time. Love got knocked out by Porky Medina. Badu Jack got knocked out by Edwards. Both were perceived dead on arrival. Career was over. Badu Jack strapped his nuts back on and started whooping ass, and nobody really started apologize for what y'all writing him off for Derek Edwards. But Mikey is getting praised for beating a guy with 13 fights. I find it a little bit funny, and that's how boxing fans is, man. When people say race don't matter in boxing, they full of shit. And anytime you bring up a race debate or you talk about, race in America, racist people, it's always the racist people, the racist motherfucker, most racist motherfucker on the thread, or most racist motherfucker in the room, saying that, oh, you always got to bring up race. That's how you know a motherfucker racist. When you're uncomfortable talking about race, and you're a little racist, and you can see clearly what's going on, that's how you really know. And that's this is a plain example of that right here. Let that be one another fighter I name, struggle with a guy with 13 fights like that. He'd be getting trashed and burned and waste management, all that type of shit. But it's TBC. Y'all know what it is. We gone.